Welcome to another of our Reflection for Learning videos. This is a little practice that you might like to use in class or possibly just for yourself. It's a very simple practice which just involves being silent together. So if you're doing this practice in an online group, which is what we've especially created these videos for, ask people who are on mute at the moment to unmute so that we're practicing being together in silence in just the way that you would if you were in a classroom. And if you're using this in teaching, just be aware that sometimes being silent can be quite a surprise for people, might trigger altered states of consciousness or things like that. Because depending on how we live our lives, we may not have much time just actually pausing and stopping. So you can start with just doing this for 1 minute, just for a short period if being gentle and easy is a good idea to begin with. So we're going to experiment together with literally just being silent and being aware of our environments, which in this case includes our digital environment and the places we're all in. So just rest in awareness of where you are, socially and digitally and physically. Don't feel any need or obligation to speak or to think. Just rest quietly aware of the place where you are, resting in silence. And if you do find this is somehow uncomfortable, feel free to change the rules. This is not actually about doing things you don't like, it's just about exploring things that you feel curious to explore. Okay, so when you're ready, just in your own time, just come back to being in conversation. And if anybody would like to comment, they certainly are very welcome.
Thanks, Greg. For me, as I was trying to appreciate the silence, I wondered if there are various levels of silence, because even though it was very quiet amongst us, and I'm wondering if people who watch this video will find it very quiet during that period. In my office, there are things that I can inevitably hear at different levels of volume, and then when you were speaking, I heard those less than when it was otherwise quiet, when there was no speaking. So yeah, it made me think about what we mean by silence and how there can be different types of silence.
Cool. I should have cued us all to reflect explicitly, but that was a lovely example of reflecting on it. Thank you. So it's a very simple little exercise. In fact, it's extremely simple. But because we live in a culture that's not great at pausing and not great at being quiet, it can be quite a sort of a precious introduction to reflection for people. And it can be done in a micro fashion. Anyway, there's more about this, this practice, just sitting in silence together, and about a whole bunch of other reflection for learning exercises in our Reflection for Learning Scholarly Practice Guide for Educators book, which you can find online at Advance HE. And if you'd like to share some feedback, we'd very much welcome that. And as you can see here, it's reflection4lc@gmail.com with a capital R and a capital LC.